Will negative population growth in the US in the next 20 years cause a stagnant market? Millennial and Generation Z are having less children due to a variety of socio-economic factors: inflation, stagnant wages, more educated. Currently they are not having enough kids to meet the replacement rate in the United States. I'm currently 28 years old and I'm essentially 100 in stocks in my retirement accounts and my non-taxable brokerage account. Would it make sense to diversify more in global ETFs if I believe the US market will not experience the historic growth rate? Something more like a 60-40 split of stocks to global ETFs? Obviously there's no way to predict future performance based on past trends, but the general sentiment on this subreddit is to be basically 100 in stocks. Is anyone worried this strategy will truly be valid given the declining birth rate trend? Population demographics are a lot worse in Asia and parts of Europe than in the US. I'm betting on the US more so than the rest of the world over the next half-century. US has a not-so-secret weapon called immigration that can be opened or closed at will to help fix any demographic issues. China and Japan can't do this, let alone to the extent that US can straight-up brain drain other countries. First, this is easily solved with immigration. Politics aside, immigration is generally good for business. Second, the massive US corporations that are responsible for most of the US stock market growth are multinational corporations that sell beyond the US border. That being said, I am a buglehead and I believe in having a globally diversified portfolio. I don't agree with being 100 stocks. So no, I am not concerned with either the US stock market being stagnant or the total world stock market being stagnant. Historically it's been a bad idea to bet against the US stock market. Although this isn't a bet against, I personally think that you could do closer to 100 than 60 domestic. Other thing is, it appears we'll be able to rely on automation and immigrants to offset population decline better than other countries. Please see Japan and China. Birth rates have been dropping in the US for a while. If it wasn't for immigration into the US it wouldn't be maintaining its numbers. No, we have enough immigrants, it's not an issue. US actually still has a good birth rate. I hope we as a society solve the Western birth rate problem and don't ignore it. However, a rapidly declining population has not been bad for Japan's stock market. And the US is actually still birthing more people than other parts of the world, even though it too is declining. So the US relative to other countries is still going to do best, I think. US will continue having pop growth due to immigration. The US and Mexico are poised to take over in terms of population. Yes, it will impact the markets negatively. On one hand we have people leaving US, there are bachelors who are avoiding, cycle will grow. Am I a sycophant if I believe it's a good thing that birth rates are dropping off? We're already killing the planet with 8 billion people. What good is economic growth if environmental toxicity makes this place unlivable? No. If anything, we'll likely see a spike in growth with the exponential progress being experienced in the technological sector. Companies are becoming more efficient with autonomy becoming more widespread and technology becoming more intuitive, minimizing expenses and magnifying revenue. Never bet against America, bitch. Warren Buffett. The real issue with slow population growth is what you'll consume with your retirement savings. Good luck affording at-home nursing care when there's an inverted population pyramid. This whole negative population growth theory is Elon Musk crazy town bullshit. The population will continue to grow exponentially. There is really no stopping it at this point. It'd be another 20 years before the missing kids either fail to buy stocks or generate income for traded companies. No, they are completely unrelated. Remind me 10 years. People aren't having kids because homes, college, childcare and health insurance have far, far outstripped general basket of goods inflation over the last 30 years. If you want to send your 2 children up and through a state school, it will cost you around $1 million. Oh, and we have outlier-esque warming this year alone. kind of have no interest in bringing somebody else into the hell we are creating. Anyways, time to put 15 away in Vanguard funds, never really collect it at 65 and buy another cheap TV. The youngins. AI will replace the need for a lot of education, like when you could finally take a calculator to math class. It'll be labor jobs nobody wants to do. Also, the planet will be on fire or underwater at alternating intervals. Blame old people for that one. This is why they overturned Roe. It was never about human rights. Elon won't let that happen. I don't know, but I don't see how it's as bullish as rapid population growth. The immigrants will make up the growth population deficit. No worries. Nothing wrong holding some in a total market ETF like you suggested. Having a portfolio of 3,888 stocks and ended up losing 36.7 2008 and 19.53 2022 is not my idea of investment. You need more than global fund to hedge a bad year. Boomers are going to spend 75 trillion. I wouldn't worry about it. If the news and internet is saying that the population growth is negative, that means that babies are popping out at an unprecedented rate and the population is growing straight upwards. The news lies. Why do you think they said we were heading into a recession in 2022? Because we were ready to head into this bull market. The news is a lie and the internet is a lie. Eventually, yes. I would expect GDP to shift similarly to Japan. A big thing people don't realize is that fertility below replacement is a global phenomenon. Immigration can certainly operate as a band-aid solution, but at some point, if the global population is aging and fertility rates is dropping, it will make immigration less valuable as it becomes more older people who tend to spend less. There isn't any way to really avoid this headwind as this becomes a global issue. Who knows, which is why I'm most comfortable with 70 FTSE equivalent, 30 FTSE equivalent in all my accounts. Slightly more US weight than I'd get from an all-in-one global index fund like FTWAX, but still enough global diversification to cover my bases. Are we short people now? We create 8 more money per year. Unless that stops, the market will average an 8 gain. Now, are we going to sell iPhones to increasing population countries like India? No. I'm 85 FTSE 15 FTSE. Immigration. For what it's worth, I've shared this same thesis for over a decade and have diversified into some funds tracking developing economies with great population growth: Indonesia, Vietnam, India, etc. My US stocks have done much better. All else equal, a shrinking population will lead to lower GDP growth. However, it is really GDP per capita growth that matters. Grosso modo, more people, more equity dilution. No, because the US and Canada can let in as many immigrants and international students to create demand, at least for another 20 years. There's millions of people in the world who are trying to get themselves on this part of the continent in search of a better life. This will likely be fixed with immigration. America has historically been a country more welcoming to immigrants than most other nations. This will keep the economy strong even if USA natives don't have enough children to sustain the population. I don't have much faith in it, but what does that do to Social Security? Get it while it's hot. I'm not concerned about population in the US. If we need more people, we have plenty of people waiting at the border willing to work their asses off to live here. You can just increase immigration if you need more people. Now we make more money and spend more to make up. I'm fairly certain when the threat of stagnation becomes real, we'll make immigration more accessible for people and give that can a swift kick down the road. Yes, but not as dramatically as one might expect at a shallow glance. WTB my Asian, really I have to. I would say that depends on your time horizon. If you are planning to have said investment for the income, then invest in less risky securities. I do not think you are going to see negative population growth in the US. That is not what is projected. Maybe you are confusing the US with China? Or South Korea?